Afternoon, everyone. It's now Thursday, 5 p.m. I finished work for the day. As promised, I'm going to make a curry tonight. My brother emailed me a curry recipe the other day and said, why don't you try this Pathia curry? Traditionally made with chicken or lamb, but last Sunday, if you're watching my series, I had 2 kilos of beef. I only used a kilo because there's only myself, my daughter, my son. So I got a kilo left over. It's in the fridge. It's now about 3-4 days in, so it's got to be used. I was going to freeze it. I'm going to make a curry with it. So let's continue. So it's a bit long-winded, to be honest with you. There are 3 steps to this curry. First things first, you've got to make the curry sauce or curry gravy, or it doesn't really matter what you actually call it, but it's the base of a curry. And apparently all Indian curry houses and takeaways have this curry base or curry gravy which they use, and you can use it in most dishes. The recipe he gave me actually makes about 3 litres of it. But I'm not going to do 3 litres. If you want to use 3 litres, double up on everything that I'm going to give you here. But I'm going to cut everything down by half and just make 1.5 litres. Because you're going to use, or today we're going to use roughly 500 ml of the liquid, and then obviously you can freeze the rest, or use it in other curries at a later date. So that's the first step, is to do the actual base or the gravy, and that's got to be simmering roughly for an hour, hour and a half, and then we blitz that up. Secondly, then we make a curry mix, a dry mix. So that's the spices that you can use. Again, you can use it in any curry. So I will be making the full quantity because I do actually quite like making curries. I'm the type of person who just normally chucks in whatever's to hand, and they normally turn out pretty good. But I'm going to follow my brother's recipe today, and hopefully that will come out more like a restaurant style curry. Anyway, so the dry mix we're going to do, and then I'm going to keep it into a sealable bag for future use. And then thirdly, we're going to do the curry. So Pathia curry, beef Pathia curry, or Pathia, and the main ingredient, or the actual, not the main ingredient, the special ingredient in that Pathia is tamarind. So if you haven't got tamarind, you need to go and get some tamarind paste, or I've got a block of tamarind which I'm going to dilute with water. But basically, please go and get some. And if you can get some brown sugar, brilliant. If you can get some lime, even better. If you haven't got those, I haven't got lime today, but I think I'm gonna manage anyway. So we'll begin. Okay, so this is basically 4 onions. So you need to get 4 onions. Like I said, double up on this. So 8 onions is the recipe, or the quantities that he sent me. 6 to 8 garlic cloves. So yeah, just half those, so 4 or something like that, 3 to 4 of those. Basically 1 tablespoon or 1.5 tablespoons of ginger. So I've got some fresh ginger here. So I'm going to basically roughly chop that up. 1.5 tablespoons of cumin. So I do have some ground cumin powder here, and 1.5 tablespoons of coriander. So this is ground coriander. Nice. And then 1.5 teaspoons of turmeric and 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Okay, so tablespoons, teaspoons, onions, ginger. There is also a tin of chopped tomatoes. After roughly 1 hour of simmering, I will add the tomatoes, continue then for another 20 minutes, half an hour before blitzing. Okay, so these are added at the end. Okay, straightforward enough. The garlic, I'll use these garlic here, 1, 2, 3, that'll do. Okay. Oh, sorry, I do apologise. We actually need some vegetable oil, roughly 1 cup. That's why I've got a cup here of vegetable oil. So I'm just going to chop all these up. I'm going to put them in the pan. I'm going to put them on, bring it to the boil, and let it simmer for an hour. Okay, straightforward. Chop your onions. I should have a calendar here. Yeah, there's a calendar over here. I also going to keep the leftover part of the vegetables. Now if I start crying, I do apologise, but so roughly chopping into a large pot. Like I said, this base can be used for any curry later on. You don't have to do the curry that I'm making today. You can make your own curry. I don't know if you can see, but I'm actually sitting on a little put-you-up painter and decorator stool. I haven't got a small chair behind me. Sorry, chucked the wrong thing in the wrong pot. Not concentrating, see. I hope everyone's keeping well during this lockdown. Today I've been working from home, not long finished, so I decided to do this. And if you can get out and help the vulnerable, especially the OAPs, the elderly. We've got a neighbourhood app, email group, which is actually, you should register to it. I've registered it to in my area, and there's quite a few people actually that will go shopping for you. Go to the pharmacy. I think everyone's pulling together, which is a good thing. It just goes to show in times of need we can all do our bit. And, get through this. We will get through it. It's just going to take time, and if everyone does their bit and self-isolates, stays in, the sooner it'll be over. I will confess I did leave the house earlier. I have a family member in Wigan, and since this lockdown we've been doing obviously these videos, and also we've been doing quizzes via video conferencing. So very very good, entertaining quizzes and video conferencing. Bingo is another thing we started doing. I know you're all going to laugh at me, but seriously, it passes the time. And I have a family member in Wigan who couldn't get out. So I had a spare webcam. So I sent it up to her via the post. Watch what I'm doing, I put them in the wrong pot sometimes. Okay. Joys of home cooking, eh? Nice. Okay, garlic's in. Now I'm going to get a lump of ginger. This should be fine. It's not the best piece. Should take it back. Never mind. It's roughly right, I think. So, just going to chop this up. We will blitz this afterwards, so don't worry about the chunky bits. We will blitz it. It's not really a problem. So, a teaspoon, 1.5, roughly. We'll have turmeric. 1 bit. Okay. Some salt. 1 bit. Nice. Okay, tablespoons. Tablespoon. Okay. So this is the cumin. So I need 1.5 of these. And coriander. Do I want to open it all here? No. 1.5 of these. So, don't worry about the affirmations. If you're anything like me, I'm the type of cook who just throws things together. Not the type of person to measure everything out exactly. Oh, cup of oil. Nice. Which is 200 and what's a cup of oil? 238 maybe mils. And into this we want 1.5 litres of water today. Yep. So I'm just going to fill up 1.5 litres of water. So if you're any good, that's 750. Yeah, roughly right, I think. And if you do double up on this, just put in 3 litres of water. Okay, so now I'm going to take this over to the cooker. I'm going to put a lid on it, I'm going to bring it to the boil. Like I said, roughly 1 hour. Just let it get all cooked, get the onions nice and soft. And then I'll add the tin of tomatoes. And then another 20 minutes, half an hour, and I'll blitz. Okay, I think I'll put it on the back burner. If I put that there, I'll leave the tomatoes on the side ready, and I'm just going to put a lid on that and just leave it, and I'll be back. I'm now going to prepare the dry mix. This mix again can really be used with any curry, not just today's curry, for you to prepare it on. So, tablespoons and teaspoons. Okay, so basically I'm going to start with some coriander, roughly 4 tablespoons of coriander. I'm just going to put them in a bag because I'm not going to use it all in the curry, and if you put it in a bowl or something like that, then it's more difficult to get into the storage. I know I'm not measuring them out exactly, so please don't comment too much. This is just the way I like to cook. Cumin, 2 cumin. I should have some cumin here, so I want 2 cumin. I'm just gonna chuck that on. Oh, it smells lovely. Okay. There we are, there's 2 cumin. Turmeric. I want 4 tablespoons of turmeric. Maybe I have got 4. I should have 4. I hope I got 4. If not, I'm going back out to the shop. That's 1, 2, 3. Basically, come on, 4. Good. It's a bit for luck. Some turmeric, some paprika. So, which is my paprika? This is my paprika. I'm going to put in about, I don't know, 3 of these. 3 paprikas. And some mild curry powder. Just 2 of these. These spices I just got from a normal supermarket. You probably can guess which one by now by looking at the pots. Okay, so chili powder. Now we've gone from tablespoon. Let's go to the chili powder. So it depends on how spicy you actually want it, but I've got hot chili powder here. The kids don't like it too spicy, so I'm only going to put in 1 teaspoon. Yeah, there is enough flavour in there as it is, but if you do like it more spicy, please put some more in. Garam masala. So I'm going to put 2 of these in. Lovely. And then traditional black pepper. 1 of them in. Lovely. So there is my dry spice mix for today. Try and get all the air out of it. And then close it. Just mix it all around. You can see the lovely turmeric. If you're anything like me, you're a messy cook. I spend more time cleaning up afterwards than actually cooking. With some old clothes. Look, see, you can see we're old clothes. Turmeric and some curry powders are a nightmare to get out, if not impossible. So there's your curry mix. We'll only be using a fraction of that in today's cooking. Then you can also store that later. Unfortunately, this ginger that I bought is not the best. It's a good job I bought a big chunk of it, otherwise I'd be disappointed. Salt we don't need to use in the actual spice mixture. So we'll come back later now to start the Pathia curry. Before I come back, I will probably get the beef out of the fridge and I'll chop that up nice. Now, my brother's recipe basically said to pre-cook the meat And last night we were actually on a quiz on a video conference. My brother lives in Spain, sorry I didn't mention earlier. We were actually on a family quiz, and he said, "Are you going to pre-cook your meat?" Now normally when I do a curry, I don't. I put the meat in raw. So I don't really know what's right and what's wrong. But I'm going to stick to my method. I'm going to cut the meat up into small bite-sized chunks, and then I'm going to put the meat into the sauce and let it cook that way. If that's the wrong way, I'll let you know later, but ideally, you know, it is entirely up to you, but ideally you should follow the recipe that he sent me and pre-cook. If it was chicken or something like that, or lamb, they say to pre-cook it first, but I'm using beef. The choice is yours. Let's see how it turns out. Here's my beef that I basically had left over from Sunday. It's a roasting joint and there's nothing special about it, but rather than wasting it, I am going to cut this up and use it in the curry. Please remember to wash your hands after touching raw meat. And normally in this recipe you would only use probably about 500 grams of meat. This is 1 kilo because it came off at 2 kilo. I'm going to use it all. Okay, so I'm just going to chop this up and use it. I don't want to waste any of it. And like I said, I am going to put it in raw. Put the marbling in there. It's actually good meat. Don't worry about the marbling effect. Bits of fat, that's where the flavour is. And I'm going to chop this up just into, I don't know, bite-sized pieces. I'm going to cook it all actually, because any leftovers I'll put into some containers, and we're all home for quite a few weeks yet. And if I cook this tonight on a Thursday, this will last us until, well, Tuesday next week. I know it's a lot of meat, but I'm not wasting it. It's the last thing I'm going to do. I prefer to cook it and eat it for 3-4 days on the trot rather than wasting it. It wasn't cheap. If you cook this in the curry, and this, if the curry dries out, the actual base that we're making is 1.5 litres. I'm only going to use probably about half a litre of it. If the actual curry dries out while this is cooking, then by all means add some more base. Don't add water. You can add water, but I would say add some more of the base for it. Okay, that's ready for our cooking our curry later. Okay, so to prepare for the actual curry, this is the main star of the show, tamarind. Now, I will be honest with you, I've never ever cooked with this before, and I don't know what it's like. So let's give it a go. Okay. Strange. What is it like? Limey. It's not hot, it's not spicy at all. It's limey. Yeah, it's got a lime to it. That's citrusness. It's very nice actually, but it's very strong, so be careful. I don't know how much you're supposed to use. In the actual curry itself, I'm only going to put in maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons, maybe 1.5 tablespoons, I think, yeah, 1.5. So I'm not really sure how much we use, but I know because this is basically the dried format. I'm going to put a little bit in that cup that I put the oil in earlier. I'm going to seal this. I got this actually from an Eastern type of. They're not a supermarket because they've got a restaurant up above, but I would say it was like an Indian type of supermarket on the side, come restaurant up above, where they sell all these produce, and this is where I got especially the garam masala, because I run out of it. My local supermarket didn't have any in stock. So anyway, with this tamarind, I'm just going to add some water to it, boiling water. I boil the kettle. I'm only going to leave that. Do I need a teaspoon? Let me leave that for a moment. So I need the spoons to actually do the other dry ingredients really for this Pathia curry. So to start off with, we need roughly 2 teaspoons of the dry mix that I made earlier. So I'm going to put this into just a normal serving bowl. And like I said, you know, I'm generous with the spices. I didn't put too much hot chili in them. I know all the other spices can be hot. I didn't want to make it too hot for the children. Keep that for a later date. So yeah, basically that's in there of my spice mix. You can also add some, if you wanted to, some hot madras powder to this, or hot chili powder to it, or even use more mix. It's entirely up to you, but I don't want it too spicy. So also mild chili powder. I don't want it too hot, so I'm only going to put in half of that. Nice. And basically fenugreek. This is fenugreek. This stuff. Again, it's a strange ingredient, but you don't want too much because it's very, very strong. So maybe another half of this into there, and again half of cooking salt, table salt, whatever you want. That'll do in there. And I think that's it for my actual dry ingredients. So just to recap on that, the spice mix I made, you know, a good couple of teaspoons of it, a teaspoon of hot madras if you want. Choice is yours. I haven't put it in, but you know, you can add more of the spice mix if you want. Kashmiri chili, or you know, cayenne pepper, or you know, some paprika. You add in. I got some smoked paprika. No, that's not smoked. Actually, I will put in just a touch of that. Not too much. Paprika. Smoked paprika would be nice. Fenugreek and some salt. Okay, so that's our dry part. Mix it around. And I'm going to put that over by the cooker. Ready to cook our curry. Then for the oil, basically just 2-3 tablespoons of oil. Garlic ginger paste. Now, what I use and again I got these from that Indian place. These blocks, crushed garlic and ginger. And I think one block is roughly, these are from the freezer, and one block is roughly, I don't know, a tablespoon. So, a tablespoon of garlic and ginger. I don't know if you can, have you noticed by now out of the 4 or 5 videos that's up online, we love garlic in our house. We probably stink of it. So we're going to use 3 tablespoons of just normal general oil. There is going to be a tablespoon of that garlic and ginger puree paste. Roughly a tablespoon of tomato puree. You can add that to the hot water mix now, or just squirt it into your curry later. Mix that in. That's roughly a table. Again, I like a lot of Italian style foods, and we use a lot of this tomato puree or passata sauce. Well, you've seen the other night on the pizza, I made some passata sauce. Beautiful. Tin tomatoes, beautiful. Anyway, so there's your tomato puree, and we're going to just use half a litre of our base that we're cooking at the moment. Normally, I've already mentioned half a kilo of meat. Chicken or lamb is traditional in this dish, but I'm going to use beef because it's got it left over. The tamarind paste that I've made here, and roughly a tablespoon or so of brown sugar. And there's no harm at this stage putting this into the sauce you've got there anyway. There. So we've got basically a tablespoon and a bit of brown sugar. Okay, once this has been on now for half an hour, exactly half an hour, give it another half an hour, and I'll add the tomatoes. 20 minutes, I'll blitz, and then we're ready to make our curry. I've now added the tomatoes, and I'm going to bring back to the boil and simmer for 20 minutes. That should be enough. Hi everyone, welcome back. I've now made the actual curry base. I've liquidized it after roughly an hour and a half of simmering, 1 hour, and basically I've added the tin tomatoes, and then just left it simmer for another 20 minutes, then I liquidized it. So out of this 1.5 litres plus of liquid base, I actually only need roughly 500 ml of curry base, so I'm going to pour in a litre and save it for another curry. So I really want roughly, this is a 2 litre jug by the way, so half full up to a litre. I'm just going to tip it out. Cool. another litre of curry base, which I will use at a later date. So I've actually kept then roughly 600 ml of this curry base. I've got our dried curry spice, so from what I made earlier. I've got our 1 kilo, I know it's 1 kilo, I know we should only be using half of that, but I'm not going to waste that beef. I've got some cooking oil, got tamarind, which is mixed with, I put some sweet brown sugar in there. I also put some tomato puree in there and a little bit of water. So that's not quite half a cup, but it is. I've also got some passata that I used the other night on the pizzas. Now I'm not going to waste that. It's been in the fridge. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to add it to the curry because I hate wasting food. Additionally, we're going to serve this with some basmati rice. So here we've got some basmati rice, and literally that's all I've done. I've soaked it in some water and I've removed the starch. So I soaked it once, drained it, rinsed it, put it in, soaked it twice, drained it, rinsed it. So in here, that's all this is. The rough gauge is 75-80 grams per person of rice per person. Our kids are greedy. So basically we go to say 100 grams. So in here there's roughly 300 grams of rice. I've topped it up with water, I've added a pinch of salt, and I'm going to cook this just on the hob. When this comes to the boil, turn it down because it will boil over. Okay, just check that on. It will boil over, so keep an eye on it. Once it comes to the boil, turn it down and simmer it. It depends on what rice you buy. If you get the quick cook stuff, it might be 10-15 minutes. If you get the normal stuff, it might be 20 minutes. But keep an eye on it, keep on checking it. Taste it until it's al dente. Once it's al dente, drain it, put it back into the pan and put the lid on. And then once you're ready to serve it, it'll be nice and fluffy and cooked throughout. Okay. I will now basically add some cooking oil to the heavy duty pan. This is the same pan I used for the base. There's nothing wrong with using the same pan, and because I transferred it after liquidizing it to a saucepan, we've got this pan to spare. I was going to cook it in this pan, but because I've got so much meat, I think if I put that in there, then we're just going to overflow. It's just not enough volume in there. So after one side, maybe once the rice is cooked, I'll transfer it to there, etc., etc. So just get this oil nice and hot. So let's turn up the heat so we can get this oil nice and hot. So let's start the curry cooking process. I've added some just some normal vegetable oil in this pan. I'm just going to start to bring it up to temperature before I actually add the ingredients. I've also found in my cupboard some curry leaves. This is my spice cupboard, by the way. So basically curry leaves. I'm going to add some of that as well to flavour the oil. You don't have to. And I have also noticed some cardamom pods. This is roughly 75 grams, 80 grams per person of rice. I've soaked it a couple of times, rinsed it, soaked it, rinsed it, just to get the starch out of the rice. It's basmati rice, by the way. And I'm just bringing that to a simmer and up to a boil. But I might add, because you always find it in your rice, in your takeaway, is basically I'm going to get these cardamom pods, and I want just get the flavour out of them. Oh, drop one. So I've broken these cardamom pods open. I'm going to put that into the rice. stir that a little bit. That's fine. Once this is being brought to the boil, by the way, I'm just going to turn it down as soon as it's get hot. Once it's cook it for, depends on the packet, 15 minutes if it's quick cook, maybe 20-25 minutes if it's not quick cook. Taking that off because it's getting a bit hot. And then once it's al dente, take it out, rinse it. You can keep on tasting it. Take it out, drain it. Sorry, not rinse it. Drain it, and then put it back in the pan. Add the lid on, and just leave it until you're ready. Okay. So this is nice and hot. I am now going to add my curry leaves. This will flavour as well. Lovely. Once that's calmed down a bit, I'm going to add my garlic and ginger. Once my garlic and ginger has cooked, only for 30 seconds, won't take too long at all. And what you want to do really, you don't want these spices to burn, you just want them to cook out. Get the, oh, it smells nice, the flavour out of them. Keep on turning it. And don't worry about the oil. I've used vegetable oil today, but normally I've got some ghee in the fridge which I use, and it's an amazing flavour on the ghee. So just let that cook for 20-30 seconds. And like I said, you will get quite a bit of oil on you, or curry paste on you, or so you need to wear old clothes when you're doing away your soup from work. And then anything that comes from the side, sorry, just not from the head. Anything that comes from the sides, I'll splash it to the side, just put it back down because it's all flavour. Bring this back up to temperature, and now I'm going to add my meat. Bring this back up, all the way up. I don't really want to fry this, but I want to get all the flavours around the meat. This is raw meat. Traditionally you'd use cooked meat, I believe, in this dish, but I'm not one for tradition. Nice. And I just want to get that meat a little bit browned off. Wash your hands as you go along. This is live cooking. So I don't want the spices to burn, mind. The worst thing in the world is burning spices. But as you can see from the cooker cam, it's looking brown. And my heat is on full at the moment. This curry base as well I made, I will be adding in stages, and in the final bit I'm going to simmer the curry for a while just to cook the meat. At this stage, add your tamarind and your sugar and tomato puree. because I'm me, I'm not going to waste the tomatoes from the pizza the other night. Bring this up to the boil. Then I'm going to add roughly 100 ml of this, let it reduce, then 200 ml, let it reduce, then I'll add the final 200 ml. I'm tasting it because my son doesn't like it too spicy. At the moment it's not too spicy. Now I'm going to add roughly 100 ml of stock, or the curry base, and I'm going to let this cook down and reduce a bit. And don't forget, the actual meat chunks that I've used are or were raw. If you had this as a cooked meat, then you wouldn't have to cook it as long as I'm going to cook it. But another thing is that the actual base has got a lot of onion in there, so you want to also cook that out a bit more. I know we boiled it for an hour, hour and a half, but it's always nice to get this onion and spice mixture cooked out a bit more. So give that a couple of minutes to reduce. I'm going to add the rest, or another 200 ml of this, and then the final amount. And I have got some on standby just in case I need to add some more liquid. Hey everyone, welcome back. Now the curry is nearly done. I'm going to basically serve it with some shop-bought naan bread, shop-bought poppadoms. I will confess I am a little bit of a cheat. But I do intend making a video on how to make homemade naan bread. I've got a hot pan on here. This is my cast iron griddle. I'm just going to heat these through really. Get them ready into. And maybe just flatten them a bit. So they're more like flatbreads. Put it on the frying pan. I find the shop bought ones are a little bit too thick and doughy. So maybe if I do this, I'll get them a little bit more like the Indian shop ones. Let's put them in there. Now the curry, as you can see, the actual oil is separated. So now you know it's ready. If you go to cook a can, now you will see that the oil is separated. I'm going to get a plate ready for curry. Once the naan breads are warmed through, I'll serve them. I am also serving it with some sweet mango chutney. Now this is again supermarket brand, and some Raieta, supermarket brand Raieta, which is yogurt, mint and cucumber. That's all it is. Right, I will do this one as well. That should help that cook. Yes, a little bit better. Get it nice and. I can turn this off the heat now. The rice has been resting for a while. I will be honest with you, I did leave this cook a little bit longer. The only reason being is because the beef wasn't pre-cooked, so it was a little bit tough. So I thought I'd let it cook out and then see how it is. If I get a spoon, really, you put that down on the cooker cam, just so everyone can see whether this is nice and tender. It's really, you can tell. Look at the cooker cam. Oh, it's just melting in your mouth. And it's not too spicy. It's got, you can taste that tamarind. Fair play. It's got that sour type of limey background. It's got some heat in the background, but it's not too spicy to blow your head off. And yeah, I think that the kids will love it. To be honest with you, it's very, very nice. So let's dish up. I'll call Connor. Connor's my master. Turn that off, that can stay. A ladle in the curry. The oil is separated. I like that anyway. Next time I'm going to use ghee in here. I got ghee. I should have used it rather than vegetable oil. And then, very nice. I've got this. You can fork this. Actually, this is probably a little bit overdone, but hey, got the naan breads, got those. Okay, so I'm going to dish up. So, yeah, this is slightly overdone. I do apologise. The rice is slightly overdone. Normally I want that nice and fluffy rather than it's a little bit like sticky rice. But I really wanted it to be a little bit better than that. Okay, so there's that. I will call Connor now, just for his tasting skills. Connor! CJ! You are the prime taster. Let me turn the camcorder on you, and I'd like your personal opinion, please. We've got, do you want a knife? Yes, please. It's hot, it is hot, mate, it's just come off.
Are you doing chicken?
No, beef. Slag.
Nice.
There's mango chutney there. Great, there's your bonbons and there's your naan bread. Marks out of 10?
8.5.
8.5. What do you like about it? What don't you like about it?
Like the sauce.
You like the sauce? The beef okay, or is it too tough?
No, the beef is fine. It's not tough at all.
Nice. As you can see, everyone enjoyed the meal. Bon appetit.